Ahoy, Hexicans! Welcome to Chatting with the Captain. I am the Captain, your Captain, RG3, Hexican, full-blooded Hexican. We're going to get into that today. We're going to have a fun time tonight because one of my favorite Hexicans is going to be joining me. It's been a couple of minutes since I've had him around here on the show, and especially doing just a one-on-one. He and I, we cut our teeth in the community early. So they use this OG word. I hate the OG word. But either way, he's from the very beginning of the Hex community. We both were very outspoken when it came to people trying to FUD the community, trying to FUD the product, trying to FUD Richard. But we backed it up with proof, and we backed it up with research, and we backed it up by bringing more and more Hexicans on board and having them do research also and figure out what was going on. And so he's done, a bazillion Twitter videos. If you haven't seen Johnny Chaos's Twitter videos, you just go see Johnny Chaos on Twitter. He is full of knowledge, full of understanding of the space, especially when it comes to the Richard Hart ecosystem and what Richard Hart's tenets are, or the concepts. And he understands it well. And he and I have a lot of good conversations about the future and what's happening. I want to preface this with, first of all, thank you everybody for showing up. Daraj and Nico and Elliot and all of you people. I'm not going to go through the whole chat room, but appreciate you all in here. Appreciate you all showing up and coming. I see a lot of the OGs in the chat room. Crypto class, look at that. Okay, all kinds of good people coming in here. Dorsey's of course in here. But anyway, let me make sure anybody's not asking any questions. Captain Shreds. Yeah, I was out there shredding today on my e-board. Oh, it's not plugged in. It's in the garage. My kid has his little mini McLaren that he drives around the street, and I follow him around on my skateboard. I've got a electric skateboard. Very cool. Fun. Anyway, so I wanted to preface this call or this interview by saying that when I started Discourse Syndicate, I was up here by myself, just kind of talking to the camera, and a few Hexicans showed up, and Johnny was one of those, and he was always there when the night was empty, when nobody was there. I'd give Johnny a call, and he'd jump up, and we'd just shoot the shit. So today we're going to do the same thing. I wish I could have had all of our phone calls recorded, because we've had lots of them and lots of good ones. But what I wanted to say is that I know this man personally. I know his intent, his intentions, and for what it's worth, I know there's a lot of people out there fudding the people who are influencers or who are trying to speak the truth about what Hex is. And I'm not going to let them, just because they're loud, just because they're strong and wrong, doesn't mean that they've got the best advice. And I'm going to let you people decide who the people who are telling the truth, who the people are that you can trust. I think that our record here shows who you can trust. We've been continuously streaming. We haven't taken down any streams. Anything that we've said, we've always stood behind. We don't shill other tokens, regardless of what people on Twitter think. Oh my gosh, the Twitter space is so toxic. Even some of you that have been around for a while, freaking shame on you for talking stupid shit. I posted something that was an obvious scam. Obvious. Somebody was trying to sell Pulse, and I posted it and said, "Oh, this is cool." Basically saying, look, there's even scammers out on Coinbase. And people literally came back to me and said, "Oh, it's a scam." Like I thought that Pulse had launched on Coinbase, or they were selling tokens on Coinbase. Are you fucking kidding me? Really? Some of you. Oh my God. I literally had to pull the post down because people were crying so loud. And these are from people that have been in the community, from OGs. And I know some of them are just salty at me for whatever reasons. I know, guys. I know you're salty. I know you don't like me for whatever reason, whatever's got up underneath of your panties, the sand you got in your crotch, whatever. I know it's okay. But I took it down for you. I told all of the newbies that, hey, this is a scam. Don't worry about it. I was just putting something up to show you guys how funny it was. But obviously they didn't take that as being too funny. They thought that they should school me and have me do some more research. Fuck you and research. I've been researching for 3 fucking years. Come on. Shut the hell up. I've been talking to all of you for 3 fucking years. Think I don't know what's going on? Think I don't know it hasn't launched yet? Really? You kidding me? Fucking punks. Everybody has got something to say online. Everybody's got something to say until you meet them face to face, and they got fucking shit to say. Fucking pussies. I'm serious, man. I've never seen a generation so pussified in my whole life. Like, if you got something to say, be a man, and in person, fucking say it to the man to his face. Say it to him and see how the conversation goes then. Or you're too scared to even have a confrontational conversation in person. It's always got to be online. And some of you trolls need to get a life. Get a life. Oh, this is going to be a good one because we're going to dispel a lot of these trolls' myths. I want you to know that the people that are on this stream right now have your best interest in mind. And we always have from the beginning. We still say the same things today that we were saying back then when we weren't at all-time highs or we weren't 1,000x, 10,000x up. We're saying the exact same things in the exact same ways. Nothing has changed. Our message hasn't changed. We're not looking for you to be exit liquidity. We're trying to help the world and fix finance with what's going on here. So don't listen to all of these people out there fudding you and telling you that the OGs are trying to do shit to you. Fuck them. They don't know what they're talking about. So without any more of that, I'm going to let it even get hotter in here because I'm going to bring out the man, my buddy, and he is my friend. He's my good friend, Johnny Chaos. What's happening, dude?
Captain. Permission to come aboard.
Permission granted. You're always welcome here. You know that. So how's it going, buddy? How's it going? How you doing? How you doing?
It's been a rough week in the real world, but we're getting through it.
You know what, bro? I mean, I feel for you. I'm having the opposite experience right now because I retired in January 1st from the job. I still have my businesses and everything else going on. And I'm a dad of, 3 kids. So I'm busy, it's not like I don't have my share of shit to do, but the mental, absence of being accountable and responsible for guys that get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and show up and customers that need people there and not having to worry about that for the first time in 30 years. I'm literally sleeping at night. Like I haven't slept for more than 3 or 4 hours a night in 30 years. And now I'm sleeping 7, 8 hours a night. It's the most insane, beautiful thing that's ever happened to me. I am just so happy that I can actually get a good night's sleep and not have my mind like rolling all the time, worrying about, hey, is this right? Is that right? Is that going to be okay? Is this going to be okay? And then all day long worrying about
that switch to shut stuff off.
I'll tell you what, man, I thought it would never happen. And last year, a whole year before I actually left, I was ready to leave my company. I was going to leave them. Didn't have to do anymore. Businesses and everything were running great, even as the bear market was sinking in. But I gave them a whole nother year because they needed me a year to exit. So I gave them a year and it's up and I'm good, man. This is I had a great week. Sorry to hear about yours, but I had a great week. Did the blood come in the wrong color, or maybe the bone material wasn't hard enough, or what happened?
No. It wasn't work stuff. Not at all.
Oh, okay.
I lost my mother this past Monday,
Oh,
and
sorry to hear that, man.
2 days later, my wife's best friend lost her mother. So it's been a bit of an interesting turn of events.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that, man. I know I lost my dad about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and it was
Same
tough,
time
man.
about when I lost mine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. That's right. Man. Yep. It's been 2020 was like the worst year ever for me. Like 2 dogs, a best friend, a sister, a father, a grandmother, all in 1 year. It was just like freaking nonstop. I was just in a cloud of darkness as, Hex was taken off to the moon. But yeah. But so on to bigger and better things. Oh, Crypto Clouds. Everybody's giving you some shout outs.
Oh, I appreciate it, guys. We're not gonna focus on that though. We're gonna move along here.
Yeah. We've got some cool crypto stuff to talk about. Hex crypto stuff, of course.
I done threw off the chat, man.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say anything to anybody, but you kind of how's your week, Johnny? Well, you want me to lie?
No. It's and it's real. That's life. It's real stuff, and that's all this stuff happens to us. And kids, man. If I could rail all day about my kids right now. They've been running me through the ringer, but yeah, man. Let's talk about what's happening now. So our other children, the Twitter spaces and the Hex community. I've been really like disgusted with Twitter lately. It's just been, I know we need to get out there and get the message out and tweet and do some stuff. You're always really good at it. But lately, man, just the FUD, the inner community assholes that pop out of the freaking woodwork, from the Twitter Spaces rooms to just Twitter itself. It's just, gosh, man, it's been brutal the last few months.
Captain, you got to block them and move on. That's what I do. I don't take any shit from anybody coming into my Twitter feed. The information that I share is privileged. You are at my discretion. And if you want to be an asshole, guess what? I'm going to click the block button, and I won't even think twice about it.
Yeah,
not even going to think twice about it. Not even for a second. I'm not gonna cry my eyes out or feel bad. If somebody in the community is going off on their own, I'll probably unfollow them. And there are a lot of people that I've made friends with along the way, and I don't necessarily agree the paths and choices that they're making. And I appreciate that time that we've had to spend together, and when we were working towards a common goal. But when you're no longer working towards a common goal, those people are just going to drag you down, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's like having a friend with a drug addiction. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to help that friend, but that friend is going to gank your shit and sell it for drugs. There's nothing you can do about it, right? So right. You can't go chasing. Where we are at this point, not everybody's going to like us. You just have to accept that right then and there.
You haven't been working if you don't have haters right now.
Yeah, you haven't been working if you don't have haters. I mean, I get the funniest haters. I get people that make their one follower accounts just to come make some kind of stupid comment, and those are like the only people I really have to deal with as far as haters, because it's like, boom, they're shut down. It's over with. I just had a guy come in and said, your analogies are stupid. And I gave a picture with holding my Tears of Hex hater cup going, thanks for stopping by. I needed a refill. And I didn't block him just so that I could make sure that he got to see that, look, you're not going to affect me. It's not going to affect me.
Yeah. I know, man. I'm one of those guys that wears his heart on his sleeve and tries to embrace everyone, because I know even the dregs, even the even the bad apples got value, because I was always a bad apple. I was a very, very bad apple. And until I got my head out of my ass, um, I wasn't worth much to anybody. And then things changed and I became a productive member of society. And then I watched a lot of other people do the same. So you've seen some very, very bad people turn into very, very good people because they changed their mindset and they changed what it was that they were doing that was making them bad people,
But that change
So
comes from within. That
it,
change
it,
comes
it
from
does.
within.
It does.
And people struggle not to change. People struggle to resist change. Wherever there's change, they struggle to resist that. It's why our bodies have, homeostasis. If you're trying to gain weight to make muscle, it's hard. If you're trying to lose weight, it's very hard. Our whole system, everything about our programming, everything about our internal, uh, we're generally going to try to stay the same. And money doesn't change that either. It just amplifies who you are. And sometimes you
Exactly.
start to see people for who they really are. And that's
Yeah.
unfortunate. But
That's it, Jory. That's how I feel. And but I don't have time for it anymore. I don't have the space for it anymore. And I can't afford to have people who are new, who are watching all of us, be, exposed to that kind of crap. So it's block time. They're all getting blocked. I've had it with them. I'm not gonna play that game anymore, trying to continue to talk to them and see if they see the light. Some of them will, some of them won't. So what?
you'll drive yourself crazy trying to pull everybody out of the water.
There we
You
go.
drive yourself crazy and you'll probably drown yourself. And you know what happens when you try to save a drowned victim and they're kicking and screaming? You drown
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So, you're going to save a lot more people if you're not wrestling with that one person that really wants to kick and scream, because, they'll take you under and you're not going to be able to save a lot of other people because you let that get in your way. Look, just keep moving forward. It's like people say, don't burn bridges and stuff, right? Well, you don't necessarily have to light the bridge on fire, but if you're moving forward, you don't really have to look back at those bridges. You just keep moving forward.
Yes, exactly. I call it, the closed door syndrome. It seems like whenever a door closes on us as human beings, we tend to stand there and look at the closed door and bang on it to see if it'll open back up, versus walking through it and moving forward and moving on. The door is closed. It's time to move on. And a lot of the times we don't do that. We sit there and stare at the closed door versus, going through the open and finding another one. I wanted to bring this question up because this is where we can get started talking about what's going on out there. Okay, can we talk about the firecracker talk of PulseX and PulseChain holders that think holding on to PulseChain and stacking up their PLS is game over? They forget what Hex could do if OA had its way.
Yeah, so the environment has changed. All right. And there are a lot of people that are veterans in this space, that are very used.
Now, when you say environment, are you talking about the whole entire crypto space?
Yes.
Or are you talking about the Hex ecosystem?
The environment has changed for all of crypto.
Mm-hmm.
Hex is more affected by it than others because it's utilizing those changes, I guess would be the way to put it. Okay. So the things that have changed is like centralized exchanges have order books. Okay. And most people that deal in crypto have done order books. Most of the coins are just a narrative, right? Most coins are a narrative. They don't really do anything. They're send and receive functions and a pretty story. And that's what it has been, right? We didn't get smart contracts here until recently. And those smart contracts can be good or they can be bad, but they allow you to use the functionality of Ethereum. And like any new innovation, there are emerging properties that people have not discovered yet. And when the environment changes, when you start building on code and you start building and utilizing what is available to you, the environment then starts to change. So if you get accustomed to things being a certain way, you're going to look at them as always being that way. It's the same thing with like correlation. Everybody was convinced.
And you know what else, Johnny? You just said something magical. You said, we finally got smart contracts, and they're not even right yet. Like literally, Ethereum is not right yet. Ethereum is still trying. Ethereum is still promising. Is still working. So we're that early still. We're still
you
that
still
early.
Can't get your ETH out.
Yeah.
They built staking without an end function. How about that?
So
X has staking and its end function works just fine. Isn't that sweet?
On Ethereum. And Ethereum can't get theirs to work.
They can't even get their own staking feature to work. Imagine that. So
maybe Richard can show them where the unstake
unstake button
module is. It's on the shelf over there under entry or something. Just grab that one, plug it in there, guys.
So I really want to stress this. I don't have any ill will towards the other people that have been in the industry for very long times, but I just want them to recognize that they may be getting comfortable with the situation as it is and making assessments based on their former experience and knowledge, which can be a detriment once the environment changes and you don't recognize those changes. If you take a chessboard, for instance, right? A chessboard, the field looks exactly the same number of squares, looks like the same game. If you put your chess pieces out like, checkers, and you played it the same way as you played checkers, you'd still be playing checkers. But if you didn't realize that different pieces now had different abilities and different movements, you'd still be playing checkers. The board's the same, the environment's the same, everything looks the same. You're making an assessment that nothing's changed. Things have changed. Richard's discovery of Hart's law, so to speak, he put that in everybody's face and just smacked people around, because up until that point, before he came up to this epiphany that things move as what they are bonded to, okay, and there wasn't some kind of magical force that made everything go up and down together. There was no evil overlord or mastermind that made the prices all move concurrently. They're not, it had to do with the liquidity bonding. And this discovery is very, very critical. Okay. Yeah. This is the same discovery that caused Unisocks to go up to $40,000, not because they were worth $40,000. Okay. But because of the liquidity bonding in large pools to ETH. Since it was worth X amount of ETH, that's what allowed those to go up exponentially. Same thing with a lot of NFTs.
So let's make sure everybody understands that, Johnny. So Unisocks was this kind of duct taped NFT thing, right? It wasn't it like if you got uni, you could get these uni socks, and it was kind of a joke, kind of a meme thing. And then all of a sudden, everyone was like, whoa, what is up with these uni socks? And then Richard literally came out and told us, hey, look at this thing, guys. The reason this thing did this is because of this. It's bonded to ETH. When ETH moves, son of a bitch, it has to move with it. It's hitched to its buggy. It's a buggy hitched to the cart. It's going with it no matter what. So that makes it very interesting about what's about to happen and what we're going to see, what we could see. Now, if we're talking about these things, obviously smarter people than us know about these things. So stand by, guys. Here's where it gets interesting. What's going on with PulseChain.
So here's the thing. So Unisocks was really only paired to ETH. Okay. It was really only paired to ETH. That's why it was able to actually benefit from that ETH rise, because it was only paired to ETH. And when most things are paired to Ethereum, as a result, they get to rise up with Ethereum. And I looked back at one of my old videos and I talked about the correlation between Ethereum, because before we were heavily bonded with USDC, we were bonded with Ethereum. And I talked about Hex going up and down with the price of Ethereum. And it's kind of funny to look back at that video now, because what we had done was, now because Ethereum goes up and down and it's very volatile, what has happened was the liquidity was moved to USDC to reduce the volatility, so that when Ethereum crashes, Hex no longer has to crash with it. However, if Ethereum pumps, Hex also doesn't have to pump with it. And what you need to know about Ethereum and Bitcoin is those are also highly paired, right? So when Bitcoin drags the market up, and it drags Ethereum up with it, but again, Hex is bonded to USDC. All right. Where this gets important is the biggest complaint about what I'm about to tell you is people are like, well, we understand low liquidity. All right. You understand low liquidity, but do you understand that depends on the pair and the routing? The routing is the path that that pair has to take. So you can have a high liquidity pool that is bonded, but then its US dollar value is bonded in a low liquidity pair. And then if you route it through the low liquidity pair, everything that's paired with it goes up with it. And you're not affecting the price. You're not affecting its ability to pump because it can always be traded for X amount if the pools are large. Now, what does the OA have? A lot of coins.
A lot of coins.
A lot of coins.
Large amounts.
When he opens up shop, there are technically 3 coins that don't exist yet. There's the incentive token, Pulse, and PulseX. There is no liquidity pairing for those yet. That has to be set. That is set by the first person that decides to set those up. Haters out there, you get no say in this. I'm sorry. Forget it. There's nothing you can do about it. You don't get a say. You can whine, you can kick, you can scream, but it doesn't matter because those pairs are going to be set up from the start. And if those liquidity pools are large, nobody has enough coins to change those prices that are set based on their liquidity. Now, US dollar value. US dollar value will probably only be paired to the base native token, which would be Pulse. What that does is that creates a routing. So anybody that buys Pulse, anything that is paired to Pulse will go up as a multiple of that.
Multiples.
So if you think about it, go ahead.
No. I was just reiterating to everybody. It's multiples that it goes up.
Yeah.
It's not just.
So if you look at apex.win right now, and I don't know if you can you pull stuff up?
Yeah.
Pull stuff up, right?
We can. Yeah, Bullish is back here.
Yeah, pull up apex.win. And I'm just using this as an example, guys. I'm just going to use this as an example. Okay. I don't know what the ratios are going to be.
Yeah, while he's pulling that up, I want to educate somebody real quick. So this guy Moon Lambo, who's in here right now in the chat room, spewing crap, false equivalence. I think you missed the point. He wasn't equating Hex to Ethereum and the volume. You fool. He was talking about the bonding. He was talking about what they do. See, you guys don't understand. What you need to do is sit back, shut the fuck up, and listen for a little bit. So we can teach you something before you start talking out the side of your neck. You don't understand what we're talking about. Shut the fuck up and sit back and listen. Or I'm going to just kick you the fuck out of here because I'm tired of you people. I really am. Listen. Shut up and listen.
I want to
cotton out of your ears and put it in your goddamn mouth.
I want to address the security.
And the same thing here. He says Unisog has a fixed supply of 300. You didn't understand what we were saying, you idiot.
Fixed supply doesn't mean shit, dude.
It doesn't mean crap.
Fixed supply does not even apply in economics. It's what a person is willing to pay for it. That's how silly you are. And people think, okay, Bitcoin's cap of 21 million coins makes a difference. It can be split into 18 decimal points. What the hell does a 21 million cap in 120 years from now? Because in 120 years from now, it's still inflationary. Just so we're clear, it's not deflationary. So people fall for all these lies. They fall for all these lies. They think market cap is important. They think centralization, everything's decentralized. I got
volume. Let's talk about volume.
Let's talk about volume, which means nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Well, they love talking about volume.
Who makes money on volume? The exchanges make money on volume. That's who makes money on volume.
Not you, unless you own an exchange.
It's reported volume. It's wash trading. It's not even on chain. It's reported volume. If you're trading on a debt, if you're looking at coin market cap and you're looking what the daily volume is, it's a lie. And this is it. You believe in market cap? Guess what? They make up numbers. That's why they're all different. If coin market cap was so important, why do they all have different numbers? Look at it. For God's sakes, if they're all using the same metric, shouldn't they have the same numbers? They don't, because you're shopping off somebody else's grocery list that they interpret for you, and you think it's a fair and trusted site when it's 3 guys with admin keys telling you what to think, and you're a sheep and you're falling for it because you believe them. You've been told that volume means something. It doesn't. You've been told that supply means something. You know what matters? The available supply in the case and the demand for that available supply in the case. You want to talk about market cap? That's like counting diamonds in a mine. You don't count the diamonds in the mine. What gives the diamonds value? How many are in the case? How many are going to be there when you go to buy some? That's what matters. So that's what you call available supply. So you can learn a whole lot of stuff if you're not stuck with all this philosophy from crypto space that's been drilled into your head that means absolutely nothing, so influencers can send you to the meat grinder. Because they like to sound smart and like they know more than you, and you think they do because they use these terms. And now they've got you into their false belief system where you believe these things actually have weight and they don't. What matters is people buy and hold and not dump on everybody's head. Price go up. That's what matters. Everything else is narrative.
Okay, do we want to pull that app.hex.win up? There we go.
And as far as the SEC thing, Hex is a code. Good luck with that.
Yeah,
all right. It's a code. It is not a centralized platform that takes custody of your coins and promises you work to give you a yield. It is a code that you make your own coins. Are they going to ban video games? And are they going to come to your house and steal your video game? Because that's what you're doing. You're essentially running a video game that makes coins. The only difference is that game, they took out the monsters and inserted a stopwatch. So expect them to ban every app on your iPhone that allows you to have in-game purchase from now on. Forget it. All those apps, they're security. They gotta go, okay?
Securities. All your Pokemon cards, securities.
Security, magic cards, security, comic book cards, security. Yeah, everything's a security.
Yep.
Man. So Apex.win, if you look up here, this is just the test net. So this is just kind of an idea, okay? 1 hex is equal 232 pulse, okay, on testnet. These aren't real numbers. These are not real ratios. But what do you think hex at 5 cents, how many pulse is 1 hex at 5 cents going to be worth in pulse? 200? 500? 1,000? Now, if the routing is through USDC, starting with a coin that is priced at next to nothing, okay? Because you're looking at head-drum prices here, man. You are looking at low prices for Pulse when it starts out. Sub penny, okay? And 1 hex is going to be worth a lot of those. So what happens is, whatever that multiple is, hex gets to move up as a result of that Pulse being purchased by a magnitude of that many X.
However many that they set the ratio, whatever they set the ratio.
And they get to set the ratio, whatever they want. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it because you do not have it. You know how you got to move a ratio? You have to match one side of the liquidity pool. So let me tell you this. Hex versus hex, okay? E-hex bridged in with hex. If there's 10 million or 10 billion in the pool, who's going to put 10 billion in the pool to move that price from 1 to 1 to 2 to 1? Anybody? You got 10 billion hex? You think we can call the staff meeting and maybe come up with 10 billion hex? So
what you're saying, Johnny, is somebody that has that kind of liquidity gets to set it and forget it, right?
Yeah. And here's what it does. Here's what that actually does. It allows that entity to remove and earn hex off of both sides of the chain. It creates an arbitrage opportunity where you can trade your silver coin for your gold coin. And you can buy the cheaper one and trade it for the more expensive one. What does that do? That forces parity because of the arbitrage opportunities, okay? What else does it do?
It always does that. Whenever there's an arbitrage opportunity, it doesn't last very long.
And this is
Arbitrage
why
opportunities
on
are seen
exchanges, even though market
and
cap
exploited.
and order books are different, why on exchanges, Bitcoin tends to stay about the same level because people will buy it from one exchange and they'll move it over to the other exchange and it tends to self-balance, right? And those are two totally, those are centralized exchanges are completely separate ecosystems. And people will move to those ecosystems across chain, move to those ecosystems to make that trade for arbitrage. And with Hex being paired to Hex, you have a universal conduit between both chains. What else? So it supports parity. It creates another use case for Hex, being something that can be used to transfer across the chain. So you wouldn't actually have to sell your Ethereum Hex if you wanted to move it over to the PulseChain. You would simply wrap it, bridge it, and swap it. So it never gets sold. There's no need.
Which, by the way,
sell
that's
it.
like one process. When you bridge over it brings it in, it wraps it, and then it gives you it spits out the token on the other side. It's almost like it's more like an escrow situation where it goes in, stays, gets swapped out for the other token, and then it could either exist over there forever or come back if it wants.
Like valet parking. You get a ticket. You get a ticket to pick your token back up, but you can take that coin that you just got and trade it directly for Hex. And then so there's really no sell pressure there because you're able to bridge it. Now, mind you, I already see a lot of this wacky shit going on chain right now that's driving me crazy. There are $30 million in USDC in Hexagon hands right now. I think they're waiting for 11K and pray, or they think that PulseChain is going to be the next big thing and it's going to outperform Hex. But unfortunately, if the routing is the way that I think it's going to be, you can't buy Pulse without moving Hex.
Now, I just saw somebody rail against there is no hexagons with sideline money out there. There's no sideline money out there. Bullshit. There is. There is lots of it. There is a lot of it. And there's a lot of people bringing people in right now too. I'm going out to meet with some people in Louisiana. Now, these people are people with money. They're real estate moguls. They do really well. And they're bringing people in $30, $100, $200, $500,000 like on the regular right now. I'm going to go and talk to a whole room full of these people. And they're onboarding like crazy. They're onboarding people with money right now. So it's looking really good. Did I lose you, Johnny, or did you just turn your camera off? It looks like I might have lost Johnny for a second. Johnny. Let's go to the chat and see if I can answer some questions. I know you're probably going to ask Johnny questions. You're not going to ask the old pirate any questions because you think maybe I don't have the same. Boom. Let's see. There you go.
I'm not Richard, man. I had to take a break.
Oh, okay. Well, you got to say something. Johnny, you said the only point of failure.
Talking. I wasn't interrupting. It was great.
Johnny, you said the only point of failure you found with ETH Hex is gas. What do you believe the future for ETH Hex looks like once PulseChain is here? Off of the Ethereum chain and onto the PulseChain. That's what I see the future of it being. Where it's liked, where it's treated best. It's going to be treated best over on PulseChain. And when people see liquidity being provided, when people see the Hex coming over, people are going to follow suit. I think that's what's going to happen in my opinion.
And look, if you got a 15-year stake, you got a long time to leave it on ETH before you have to worry about migrating it.
Yeah, so there's going to be
you're not going to want to emergency unstake anything to try to migrate it. And I know, look,
I will have to agree with you on that one, Johnny. I will say don't hit the EES button unless you really have to. If you really have to, go right on ahead and hit that button. If you feel like that itch, the burn in your heart.
Don't make terms that you cannot honor. Be in a position where you don't have to sell. If you need to sell, you're going to need to emergency unstake that. You should not be in that position. Period. You shouldn't be. But here's what's going to happen. When we do go up to $1, which we will, and there's not a damn thing the haters can do to stop it. Listen to me very carefully. Hex will hit $1, and there's not a damn thing that the haters can do to stop it. Okay. When we do, we're going to have a lot of emergency unstakes because people are going to do the equation. You know what the equation is, Captain?
What's that?
The equation is, if I emergency unstake this, I'm losing this much. And that's okay because I'm actually making this much. And I'm okay with that amount. Tap out.
And that's what I've always said from the beginning, is that there's going to come a point where that emergency end stake number is so sweet to that individual at that moment in time, at that weakness in time, that they're going to hit that button. They're going to do it.
It's self-balancing because everybody who does it is going to get tremendous payouts. You're talking 25 hex per day per T-share kind of shit. Look at the spike that we got just from one shark getting hacked. Can you imagine a mass exodus where people are trying to emergency unstake? They only get a very small amount of those coins. So they're going to get a fraction of what they would have been able to dump. So it reduces the amount of supply shock that actually goes onto the market because they're actually redistributing that to all the other hex holders. It's so one of the innovations of hex is the dynamic deferred inflationary model. Okay, it's a dynamic deferred inflationary model, which means you're only seeing about 1% increase per year in actual supply, and the rest of it is distributed and pushed off into the future.
Yep.
It's not actually
distributed and pushed off into the OA, because the OA is getting those penalties too. And that means that inflation is straight off coming off the market and going into the originating address. So not only is there deferred time inflation, but there's deferred inflation that is going to end up locked away in the OA. I mean,
no expectations of work of others.
no expectations. Well, I mean, so you don't expect people to be EES and Brian Magruder here. You're just going to really this is going to sit in Johnny's Croft. Thanks Brian. For $49.99. Hit the EES. It feels good, he says.
Look what I got sitting here, Brian. Thank you, Brian.
And what Brian's really saying is it feels good to all of us who are honoring our commitment that we made with ourselves. And that's what Johnny's talking about.
If you can't keep a promise to yourself, who are you going to keep a promise to? You know, it's kind of, you make excuses, to run that equation. If you can't keep a promise to yourself, who are you going to keep a promise to?
Yeah. Right. If you can't keep one with yourself, hit the EES button.
Silver spends a lot of time whale watching.
Yes, a lot of time, and he's got too many people's wallets.
This is very important for you to understand. It doesn't matter what your position is. No matter what crypto you get into, there's always going to be someone bigger than you that has more economic energy than you that can throw that around. Now, what happens when you get vested in worrying about what these people are going to do? You fudge yourself out of your position. Let them do what they're going to do. There's a reason nobody holds 1 million Bitcoins anymore except for Satoshi, because people have given up their positions because they tap out and say, that's good enough. This is good enough. I'm out. And here's the problem with Bitcoin is it's not making you any more Bitcoin.
Nope.
The only position to be in hex, the only position not to be in hex is to ever have an empty bag. You never want to have an empty bag. You have an empty bag, the game's over for you. You're done. You will never be there for higher price points. You will never get to see those because you tapped out, you settled, and you took your price. And that's on you. And
that's why laddering is so important, because it puts you in position to capitalize on gains and to hold back during bear markets like this. Richard Hart has saved people from themselves is what he's done.
Yeah, thanks Vindicate for $85. Bear market. It's not hard not to sell in a bear market. I've been trying to mentally prepare people for the bull market, because that's when it gets hard. That's when you start running the equation in your head. That's when you start going, oh, if I emergency unstake, I'm still going to get $1 million. I'm okay with $1 million. I don't care if it goes up to $10 million. I'm good with $1 million. I've never had $1 million. Let me tap that button now because I want my $1 million. That's when it gets hard. That's actually, it's not hard. When you think about a bear market, if somebody walks into your house and they see your beautiful 75-inch brand new TV that you just bought, and they come in, they say, I'll give you $1 for it. That's how you should feel about your hex at 5 cents. You'd be like, hell no, you ain't getting my shit for 5 cents. Get out of here. Keep moving.
So one of the best of us, Hex Monkey, thanks for the $99.99. If you guys haven't met Hex Monkey, get out there on Twitter and meet him. This guy is awesome. You ever go to a Hex meetup, they don't make them any better than Hex Monkey. Friend of mine, I call him a friend. He said, I emergency end stakes just so I could look cooler than Brian Magruder. And I bet that was a big emergency end stake right there. We should all see our penalties moving up very, very, very fast because of that one. Thanks, Hex Monkey.
Hex Monkey walked into the convention, shook my hand, and he introduced himself, said his name. And I'm like, who? And he goes, I'm Hex Monkey. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, all right. I got it.
I know. That's the hardest. I have a hard time knowing one person's name and remembering their name, let alone their name, their Twitter handle, their Telegram handle. It's like some of these guys have a different one for every single platform they're on. It's like, oh, geez.
And it's bizarre because everybody knows you. And they know us when we show up at these things. It was fun because I got to when I did go, there were people there that didn't know me, so it was cool. That was like the funnest part for me, was to meet people that didn't know me, because I'm not streaming all the time and stuff. I'm not I'm the Stan Lee of Hex. I make cameos every now and then. I don't want the spotlight. I just want to make my cameos and call it good.
So I thought it was so cool. So I'm standing in the foyer of one of the events. We're going to go in, and the event was going on inside. And I was out in the hallway, and there was this young man there, and his mom or his aunt or somebody was with him, and she stopped and she was talking to me. Now she didn't know who I was. She had no clue who I was. And she was excited about Hex. So she started talking to me about Hex. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I said, I'm just going to act like I don't know anything, because she's like feeling so good about like pitching Hex to me. Right. So I let her go, and she was good, man. She was laying it all on me. And I'm like, really? And then, she getting more excited. So I started feeding into it, and just like she was getting more and more excited, and she was ready to onboard me right there. Like, I got this guy. And then her nephew walked up and said, "Oh, RJ, how you doing? Oh man, so nice to meet you. I got to introduce you to my aunt. Oh, you already met her?" And she was just like, "What? This guy? You know about Hex?" I was like, "Yeah, kind of." And she was like, "I can't believe you let me go on and on and on like that." I said, "You were doing great. I just wanted you to keep practicing." So it was fun.
So I went in and I put on the wig, and I did the Francis Finance bit at the main event, and I was interviewing people as Francis Finance. So I had the wig on and the glasses, and I was making the voice, and I was walking around talking to people, and I interviewed the guy with the dog named Zilla. The guy that had the dog named Zilla, Doc something rather. And I'm talking to him, and he's really, he's believing the character. He's totally believing the character. He's totally believing the character that this guy's coming to interview and talk to Hexicans, and he thinks I'm like this influencer. And he's being real dead serious and explaining Hex, and I stopped. I'm like, whoa. I said, stop. I had my camera guy cut it. I'm like, you don't know who I am, do you? And I used my regular voice, and I took off the wig and the glasses, and it's like, you still don't know who I am? He's like, no, I have no idea who you are. And I'm like, that's awesome. I was like, that is the coolest freaking thing in the world. It's like, wow, it's like and in the meantime, like earlier that day, it took me like 2 hours to get to the bathroom to go pee, because like I got stopped. I couldn't make it freaking 500 feet to the restrooms because every step I took, like somebody was stopping me and talking to me. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's fun, man. Hexkins are great. It's really fun. All right. So where's my wrench? Oh, geez. I'm looking at the chat real quick, see if there's any questions. Somebody said
I want to know what everybody's favorite myths are about cryptocurrency. What's your favorite myth about cryptocurrency? We'll try to do a speed round where I can smash that myth in like a couple seconds.
Hey, what's up, Rags? Good to see you, buddy. So myths, volume. Well, we just kind of dispelled that one a little bit.
Volume, market
Gosh,
cap.
they talk about volume all the time. Market cap. It's like market cap is just. I thought that Hex for sure killed the market cap argument from like all they got to do is see it and go, oh, wait a second. That's easy. Somebody can just fix the supply and
sell one coin to himself and never sell another coin.
Yeah, they're selling another coin and it's, worth $1 trillion because it's a trillion coins and you sold one for $1. So there's your market cap right there. Literally, you can make a crypto today, right now. I can go click on an EXE, make a crypto, sell it to Johnny for $1, and then me and Johnny have a crypto that's $1 trillion market cap because I made $1 trillion of those coins, and Johnny bought it for $1.
So this is where volume comes.
There's just no liquidity. That's just
volume. Here's where volume comes in, right? Volume doesn't matter if there's only one coin that was ever sold. Volume, you can still have a $1 trillion coin. If you sell one coin, volume has nothing to do with it. Only one trade was ever made. You still have $1 trillion market cap. Liquidity has to do with how much. So this is what people need to understand about liquidity. Okay. Because you hear a lot of people use the term liquidity and they don't really know what that means. And since they don't know what it means, they're afraid. It freaks them out. Well, but there's no liquidity, but there's this, but there's low liquidity, but there's no liquidity. So liquidity is another word for available supply. Okay. Liquidity means available supply at any given time. Okay. Would it shock you to know that $1 trillion market cap of Bitcoin could be crushed with 16,000 Bitcoin? It would send Bitcoin to zero. Would it shock you to know that there's 2,000 wallets? So if just one of them spent one of their Bitcoin all together at the same time, Bitcoin goes to zero?
Mm-hmm.
Because there isn't enough liquidity for that shit.
Yep.
Okay. Because there's not that many orders on exchanges. Why is it held up? Because people are buying and holding. That's why it's going up. People aren't mass dumping their Bitcoin.
And I think that the big wallets understand their positions too, because like literally there's 2,000 wallets that are the top. What is it? 90%? 2,000 wallets own 90% of Bitcoin.
It's 42%.
42%.
But see, so these numbers get you screwy because any one of those 2,000 variables can dump.
Multiples. Yeah, multiples.
But
if they all just sold one Bitcoin, it dumps it to zero. If they all just sold one we were talking about that earlier today.
Yeah.
One Bitcoin dumps it to zero from those 2,000 big wallets. I mean, the creative imaginary horribles. No, it's not in their benefit. The same way it's not in anyone's benefit to rug pull Hex, like you hear. Now, this one, myth. If we are not on a sex, we can't go viral.
Okay. So yeah, we can, but it's harder. The reason it's harder is because you have to redo the culture. We have to re-educate people so they're not doing what they're used to doing. That's the problem. Now, this can be done with some really good on and off ramps to where you bypass, like literally if the ramps work like they're supposed to, we're not even going to onboard people into the Ethereum side anymore. They can figure that out. They can come into the Pulse side, and if they want to, we'll teach them how to bridge out if they want to go over there and play. But the bridges are going to be built so that we're onboarding directly into Pulse and the Pulse network. And PulseX could very well become the Amazon of crypto, getting 40% of all new users. Can you imagine if Pulse was getting 40% of all new users and it was one click sort of scenario with
Let's
their
talk
own
about that.
on-ramps?
Let's talk about that. So the whole world, there's probably, I think the percentage is somewhere around 2 to 3% of the population has purchased or has gotten into crypto. I think it's that small of a percentage of people around the world. Now, everybody around the world knows crypto, has heard of crypto, knows somebody who's involved in it somehow, some way. It's on everybody's radar. And now it's in a bear market, and everybody's talking about how it is going to shit, and how it's going to get regulated out of existence, and how there's no intrinsic value, and blah 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 blah. All the same narrative that we've heard from the beginning. Now we all know that the next bull market's coming. We know it's coming, and what's going to happen is Pulse is going to onboard new people. We are going to be onboarding new people, and here's the other thing. What Briss just said, I just had a no coiner tell me that he knows so many people who just lost a ton of money in crypto and they will never get back in. So he can't see how crypto can go back up. I'll tell you right now, yes, they probably ran to the hills, but they're coming back. I'll guarantee you they're coming back once the bull market starts up again.
Michael Saylor sold 6,000 Bitcoin, Moon Lambo, by himself. Why do you think we are where we are in Bitcoin right now? Michael Saylor himself sold 6,000 Bitcoin. Don't tell me a couple other users couldn't come up with the rest of the 10. I love these guys. Moon Lambo. That's like this guy. This guy is never going to win because he's got the wrong mindset. Hey, buddy, you want to earn? Save. Learn how to save. Stop chasing lottery tickets.
Yeah.
Listen to what we're telling you here. We're telling you how to earn money over time.
Quit leverage your time, bro. Leverage your time.
If you want a Moon Lambo, guess what? You might get your Moon Lambo and it might sit in your garage until you got to sell it because it broke down. You won't even be able to afford the taxes on it.
Or to put new tires on it. Or to, I mean, that's what people don't understand. Boats,
no, dude,
fancy cars, big houses. Lots of money, lots and lots of upkeep, lots and lots. So
I'm talking about clearing the order books in a centralized exchange. That's how much you're setting on the centralized exchanges and order books right now. Okay. Just like liquidity, that can change. But yes, if everybody sold all at once, 16,000 would be all that it took to crash to the bottom.
Is the bottom in is another question. Thanks, IB.
Is the bottom in? Hex bottom was in at 1.7. It's over. Good luck. You're looking at yesterday's sales ads.
And that is because we are not correlated. Let's talk about that, because I think a lot of people think that the narrative flipped, like Hex is correlated somehow to the market because the market dumped and Hex was dumped. Hex was dumping before the market dumped. Hex peaked and then it started dumping, and then the market also followed suit.
This goes back to the psychology of, first of all, people apply their knowns. It's always been this way. It will always be this way. This is where that could be a detriment to their experience because their experience has been right so far, right? Always been right up to this point. So they have no reason to doubt that, number one. So a change occurs, okay? And because that change occurs, they're not able to recognize it because so far, all this previous knowledge, it's always been this way. What is innovation? Change. Change. That's when things change. You can't have innovation without change. Okay. So we had our own stuff going on in Hex. We had sacrifices. We've had other coins come up. We've had different contracts that people lock their coins in. We had people having shiny object syndrome. We had people believing that Richard's 11K and pray, which means because they believe that just because Bitcoin goes down, Hex has to, which I've been telling you it doesn't. That's why we pump twice as much and Bitcoin's just been but we doubled. Yep. Where's the correlation there? There's not.
There
Okay.
isn't any.
The other thing is people will find, we are programmed to find similarities and likenesses like pareidolia. That's why you see shapes in the clouds. Okay. You see, that's a puppy, that's an elephant, whatever, because we try to apply our knowns into things that we're familiar with to explain the things that we don't understand.
Like our friend Moon Lambo.
To explain things that we don't understand. We want to explain things we don't understand because we don't like unopened or open questions. We want an answer. Even if it's a vague answer, even if we can insert volume here, it's an answer to our question, even though it may not apply whatsoever. Because we want that closure. We want that answer. We want a reason why it's doing what it's doing. And if we don't have the answer, we make shit up.
Yep. And this is one that I want to address too, the greater fool theory, which is basically playing. Yeah, everything is the greater fool theory. Everything is a Ponzi. Everything is a greater fool theory. And that argument of the Ponzi in Hex's case is so outplayed and so
there's a difference between a greater fool theory and a Ponzi. So those are two different things too.
Yeah, I mean, it explains a Ponzi, but the greater fool theory can also be what people are calling, hey, you're my exit liquidity. You're right. Coming in at the top and I'm selling.
A person saying you're a person that has a coin that's referring to exit liquidity is telling you their intentions. They are projecting their intentions. When someone says that your exit liquidity in another coin and they're trying to sell you something else, they're telling you exactly what kind of person they are. Just understand that. Because
it's funny, you see them, they're all showing something else too.
13 times now. Count them. We've seen this 13 times now. This is nothing new to us. But you didn't get ripped off by those coins. You know why? Because we didn't talk about them. And we're not going to talk about them. And you know what? There's going to be 13 more. And if you want to give away your hex to those 13 more, we can't help you. That's your choice. And you're going to have to live with the consequences of that.
And they are. A lot of them are. A lot of them are dealing with the consequences of what those tokens have done.
It's easier to fool somebody than to explain to them why they were fooled.
Yeah. A lot of them are angry too. A lot of them are angry over it because they lost their hex and now they got something that ain't worth a shit. And man, we told you to stay away from that stuff. Be careful.
Well, They told you because they told you exit liquidity, exit liquidity, exit liquidity. They're projecting their intent on others.
Yep. Yeah, It's projection. It exactly is projection. If that's what they're thinking, we've always talked about.
Look at Knightley. What did Knightley do? Knightley was the first one to pull that game. Knightley was the first one.
He was the first. He was arbitraging.
Jump on your heads. You need to get out now before big payday. What a mistake was that? Yep. And then he came out and he made his own coin. He says, oh, but we're going to remove the AA. This is going to be fair and equal distribution. And what has his coin done?
Set up a whole Telegram group, pulled people out of the Hex.com Telegram group. Yep. They were all over there going, this is the next best thing right here. This is it, man. This is going to blow the socks off of Richard's project and blah, 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 blah. And Richard's this and Richard's that and Richard's this. All of those things, all the projection that they put out there was exactly
how many Bitcoins are there?
What they did.
How many Bitcoins in general are there? There's one Bitcoin, right? How many Ethereums are there? There's one Ethereum. Everything else is something else, right? Something that comes along that is as big as Bitcoin and Ethereum don't happen from some random person making some shitcoin and shoving it down your throat. Hex took 2 years of development to get
out of
where it
anger.
Was. Its game theory is perfect and immaculate, and I've been trying to drill holes in it for 3 years now, and the only thing I can find wrong with it is the damn Ethereum fees. Because look, people
and there's not enough EESers because of guys like you, Johnny, making people stick to their commitments on staking.
And I know they hate me for it right now because the price is down and some of those people bought at 40 cents, man. They're like, you bastard. I listened to you and I'm stuck. Yeah, you listen to me and you still have your hex. You
still
didn't
have
lose
your
your money
hex.
on Celsius. You didn't
And
lose
next,
your money on Luna. You didn't lose your money on Voyager. You didn't lose your money on Babel. You didn't lose your money on BlockFi. No, you still have all your coins. What are you bitching about? Because they're down right now? Suggested retail value is down right now? Oh my God, no, not suggested retail value when you can't even sell because you're staked anyway.
yep, next
Bitch
bull
at
run,
me
you'll
when
be
you're
naming your
unsafe.
children after Johnny.
It should be when you're unstaked and you can't get your price back out of it. I guarantee you're going to get a bigger price out of it than a couple years from now than it is right now. Shit, one Doge buys you 2 hex. Jesus Christ, you want to talk about undervalued? How much more undervalued can you possibly get?
Right.
We are.
Right?
You can get two hex for a joke coin. Come on.
So Clash
The
Squads.
founder abandoned.
That the founder abandoned, cashed out, and didn't even cash out well.
No, it went on to
didn't
do
even
great
save
things
a little
without him.
bag for himself.
It went
Controversial
on to do
opinion.
great things without him. In fact, Elon is freaking the Doge father now. And
He tweeted again and pumped the price, I think, just the other day.
Oh my God.
Like,
It's
I think he said something
me.
at the Super Bowl yesterday and the price pumped.
Guys,
Oh my
Doge
gosh.
almost went to $1 this last cycle. Are you kidding me?
Crypto
Doge
is
almost went to $1. You realize that there are 10,000 Doge per minute? Here, let's talk about inflation and supply, shall we? By the way, Doge almost went up to $1. You know how many are merged?
$1.
You know how many are merge mined? 10,000 Doge per minute. Per minute. And they are merge mined with Litecoin, which means they're actually mining Litecoin. They get the Doge for free. 10,000 per minute per block. Isn't that insane? And you want to talk about, oh, well, too much supply. It can't go up in value. Doge almost made it to $1. It is the joke coin. The founder abandoned it. There's 10,000 units per minute.
Every imaginable horrible that they could think of exists in that token. And what happens? One person says one thing about it, and it goes to $1.
One thing.
That's how stupid this space is, with all of the, the Saturn McLarens and Moon Lambos that are out there.
Why do they buy it, RG? Why do they buy it? Here's the narrative. Why do people buy Doge? You know what the narrative is? Because Elon's going to pump it. Well, I'm telling you right now, Richard's going to pump Hex. How about that? And he's got $2 billion to do it. How about that?
Ooh. That's something we should talk about too. Let me read Clash Squad. Controversial opinion. Market caps are now the financial world places where how the financial world places their bets. Hex market cap should include all supply when listed, because if Hex was above Bitcoin, market cap argument wouldn't apply.
Well, they'll never let that happen because they're tabloids, and they'll never let that happen.
And look what they've been doing. They've been gatekeeping the market cap from the beginning, because if it exposes them. If they play to it, it'll expose market cap for being a bullshit ass freaking measurement.
And then nobody will go to their website.
And nobody will go to the website.
Sell ads.
It's all market cap that they do everything on.
It's a reason to have a list, okay? It's a reason to have a list to sell advertisements. That's what a coin market cap site in crypto is for. It's a reason to have a website, to have a list, so that people can go and look at their list. Look, they do like baseball card lists and comic book lists, and you can get a subscription to that list sort of thing so that you can see what the going rate for things are, right? So, Elon didn't do anything bad though, Hart. All he did was state his opinion. That's within his freedom of speech rights. Just because people are dumb and they click the button and they buy something that he mentions, he's like an epic troll. That shit's funny to him. I don't think it's ethical to promote something like that, but the point is he didn't really do anything wrong except share his opinion. Maybe he likes doggy pictures. Just because he likes doggy pictures, should he be punished for that? What is he doing? He's not selling you Doge. He can sell it on the open market, but he's not like, here, click my link and buy Doge from me. He's not even selling a product. Just like us, we're not selling a product. We don't have any hex to sell you. It's all staked. If you want to buy hex, you're going to have to go get your own. We ain't selling it to you. So as far as exit liquidity, good luck getting ours. We ain't selling our dollars for pennies. Good luck with that. Yep. We know what we hold.
We got to jump in here one more time
right now
with this cat. Hey, Moon Lambo. So I think once again, you missed the point. The point isn't about it selling. The fact is that it doesn't fucking matter, is what we're saying. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is the narrative that they've been placing on Hex all of this time. Yeah. And you're right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Anyway. Let's see.
What else we got?
Is the adoption S-curve a real thing?
Let me go get my tea leaves and my chicken bones.
I mean,
and let me figure out how many buyers are coming in and how many sellers are coming in, and I'll let you know about that adoption S-curve. No, so so the adoption S-curve is a real thing, but
in
you know
general,
what?
it's
it's
a macro.
We are gate kept. We are not listed properly. We are obscure. We're an isolated crypto in a very tiny space. The crypto space is this big. The Hex community with their 100,000 stakers is still this big. So like, we don't need permission from these people in here in our little box in here when the world is out here. So let me talk to you a little bit about adoption S-curve. Okay, let's get to it. Let me ask you this. Can the average person afford to buy one Hex?
Of course.
Can the average person afford to buy one Bitcoin?
No.
Bitcoin's at the top of its S-curve. Hex is at the bottom of its S-curve. Does that make sense to you? Hex starts approaching the top of its S-curve when one person can no longer afford a handful. Okay? That's when you got to start worrying about that. And as far as what makes price, look, you told people 10 years ago that Bitcoin was going to be $70,000. Even the truest of true believers would have laughed in your face and told you were on crack and you needed to go get committed somewhere and get some help. Even the truest of true believers. If you told them it was going to be $1 trillion market cap, they've been like, you idiot. No way, man. I'm going to sell mine when it goes up to $3.
Yeah.
That's what they would have told you. And probably they did. They sold at $3.
Most of them did.
They sold at $10. They sold at $12. They sold at $25. They sold at $30, $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, $1,000. And every one of those people that sold thought they were geniuses because they thought it was the top of the S-curve. Guess where the top of the S-curve was?
They ain't there yet.
$70,000 later. That's where.
Oof.
You know. So,
well,
you can't get hung up on these things.
No. And they're just macro looks at markets, you know, and you can't, things change. And especially in this volatile world that we're living in right now, you know, finance is very volatile right now. Nobody knows what direction it's going in. There is really no set. We're in uncharted waters right now with finance, globally, locally.
We say that as there's water below us here.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
uncharted waters.
Uncharted waters and what's going on, you know, and you need to just take all that stuff with a grain of salt. But I mean, Richard and a lot of people have a lot of ill things to say about Richard or whatever. But I, in my opinion, Richard is the smartest guy in crypto. And that's why I followed him. And that's why
competition out there, is there?
There isn't a lot of competition. No.
See, this is the thing. This is the thing where I kind of pick at Richard, because it's like he literally picked an industry that's ran by kindergartners.
Oh,
and he's the only adult in the room.
You are not kidding. And when it comes to management of their businesses, like the people that I've met, the people that I've tried to do business with in this space, the most unprofessional, unknowledgeable, the experience level that these people have in business is pathetic. It's absolutely, and no wonder none of them can get anything done. No wonder they all fail. No wonder they all have to, go towards making a Ponzi scheme of some type in order to make their money. Promises, promise coins, all this other bull crap. I mean,
that's what they know.
That's what they know. And they're faking the funk. That's all they're doing is faking the funk because they don't know the next step. They don't know how to manage their businesses properly. Look at what CZ just did to Sam Bankman-Fried. He put that boy in prison.
Doing the same damn thing.
He put him in prison. CZ played his ass, wrecked him with an amateur game of chess. I mean, a checkers game is what they played there. CZ knew what was going on at FTX. Why? Well, can we just say that CZ was doing the same fucking thing? That's why he knew. That's why he knew. He's like, they're hurting, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to rail them. I'm going to rail them, and he did. And
let's do this, Captain. Have Bullish pull up Etherscan, and then look up BNB token. I'm gonna. This is the big myth. Decentralization, guys. The OA owns too many coins. It's not decentralized. I'm going to prove to you right now that it doesn't matter what token you pick. All of them are over 90% owned in the top 100 wallets. And a matter of fact, Hex, the top 500 wallets, only own 70%. And I promise you, there's probably some top 500 sitting in this room right now. They ain't all OA.
Real quick, Johnny, I want to get this one out of the way because I don't want to talk
about it's all good.
Other cryptos. But a copy of Liquidity will benefit Pulse is a myth. 100% a myth, and we're not going to even talk about other cryptos coming in at this point. They're all going to have to be vetted. They're all going to have to do their thing and see how they work. Ain't working at the other spot that it's in. So who's to say it's going to work over here? But I don't think so. I think you're right that it doesn't have anything to do with it. We'll see. Anyway, go ahead and let's pull that back up. Bing.
Type BNB up in the search. Why is their Binance? There it is. Okay.
There it is.
Click it. And then you're going to click on holders right there. And that little tab, it says holders right next to where the little blue box is. Go up, and then you're going to hit token chart. Go down. Just below holders. Just below. Go back up. Go back up.
Right there.
Just below holders. Click that. Yeah, there you go. What's it say up there?
BNB top 100 token holders.
Oh, they changed it. They moved some shit around, buddy. They split that shit up because I pulled it up before, and it was 99.25% in the top 100 wallets. So literally, because I drew attention to that, they split that shit up. I've got a screenshot from when it was 99. CZ's watching my ass, man.
68% in the top 100 wallets. That's still,
it was 90. Listen, RG.
I know. I saw
99.25%. Literally, not even a full percent was circulating supply. Think about that for a second. And you know why? I'll tell you what the game is. They inflate their own token to borrow money against it as an asset, and then they don't sell their token because they use it to borrow money against.
It's leverage.
So they don't want circulating supply at all. They don't want people to be able to buy it and sell it on their head. They want to maintain the price,
leverage it, use it for themselves,
and they will buy their own tokens. And they'll buy their own tokens so that they can borrow money against it. If they had 10% running out of there, they would have to overpay people to buy their tokens back. This is where the decentralization concept doesn't come into play. You don't understand. People that think they're going to do a fair and even distribution, you are funding the whole thing out of your own liquidity that you're providing. You have to fund the whole entire thing. And if the price pumps, these people are dumping on your head. You being the founder. They are taking your gift of liquidity and walking away with it. And that's what they'll do. When you give a bunch of people a bunch of free coins, they will exit. with those free coins. So what BNB has done is was now they've split it up in other wallets so that I can't point out that it was 99.25%, but that's some funny shit. And I do have the post of that. So, but you need to keep in mind, that's what they're doing. They're not playing the same game. They're not trying to sell you their token. They're using their token and buying it themselves to generate the value so that they can borrow against it. There are other games being played here that people don't understand. The wash trading and volume, that is done to show you that there's interest in the coin so that you believe there's interest in the coin, so you believe there's activity going on. Guess what? There is nowhere near the amount of activity. If their true market cap, you see volume on coins that nobody's even heard of have high volume. How do they do that? Because the main wallets are trading it back and forth on exchanges, or the exchanges are not even trading it because it's actually in their wallet. They're reporting their trading data. So they can report trading data, and that can be accepted by CoinMarketCap because they're all in the same boat together. So they take them at their word. The only things that get penalized for stuff like that is people that are open and honest and tell the truth. That's who gets penalized for that. On-chain data, they don't like that shit because that shows you what true volume should really be. You know, Hex was 40% of it was the top traded token on Uniswap for months.
Yep.
Months.
That's when we were being gate kept. You couldn't even drop down Hex at that point, and we were doing most of the volume. Hex was making Uniswap, and they were gatekeeping it. Literally, you could not find Hex on there. You had to enter it yourself.
Manually enter it, and they kept removing it, and we'd have to keep re-adding it, and they'd remove it. We kept re-adding it, and finally they just gave up. They go, shit, these guys are just going to keep adding it back because you can't stop it because it's on the Ethereum chain. You have to shut down the Ethereum chain.
And not a thank you. Not a single thank you.
No. In fact, they hate
DeFi
us
popular. Okay, let's jump to the. Oh wait, let's see. There's another question here. We're getting some questions. Question in an LP where say you have 10 billion Hex on one side and 5 trillion Pulse.
Yep.
If Pulse price goes up 10x, does it also move? No, it doesn't move at the same amounts. It doesn't. It moves it in multiples.
An exponential factor.
It's exponential multiples. Now you're getting it, Clash Squad.
Now we got it. Now
you nailed it. Now you understand. But no, it doesn't move. It does go up. Wait, if Pulse price goes up 10x, does it all? Yeah, it doesn't move it up the same. It moves it up in multiples based on the pairing and what the ratios are set of the pairing. That's the key.
Because Pulse will have the ratios in USDC. Pulse will have a price in USDC, and 1 Hex will be equal to X number of Pulse. So when Pulse goes up, then Hex goes up the magnitude of whatever that multiplier is.
So what does that mean? That means that, do we think that Pulse is going to be very popular when it starts and launches at 0? Is everybody going to want to just jump in and grab a bunch of Pulse? Of course. Of course. Are there a lot of people with other shit coins
without moving Hex? If you think about it like a train, and I hate using train right now because train's like been an awful thing, but if you think about cars in the train, and if the caboose moves forward, the engine has to move forward. All the cars in front of it have to move forward. If it goes back, then everything has to go back together. So each one of those cars, if you think about it, there's a multiplier, and that multiplier is the number of Pulse that it's worth, right? And only one pair, like the Pulse, would be paired with USDC. So it's the one that holds that value. And then everything else is a ratio to Pulse. And that's how you do the routing so that every time Pulse moves up, the other stuff moves up too in dollar value.
It's a beautiful thing.
And the size of the pools, when you're talking about those big pools, that's important because what that does is that prevents that ratio from shifting. So that allows you to.
It means if somebody else can't come in and jack it.
Yeah, that allows you to hold those 200 to 1 ratios because now there's not enough people to match that one side to change it.
Yeah. And the person that's going to be setting that more than likely has more than anybody else.
More coins than anybody else. So, I mean, think about this. If you open a store and you've got to set prices before everybody comes in, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Someone has to set the prices initially, right?
Right.
On these tokens that don't exist yet. Someone has to set those ratios.
What's an entrepreneur that has sold car stereos out of his front yard going to do to the price of something? What's he going to do?
Is he going to sell you? Is he going to show you his premium stuff or what?
He's going to make it profitable. And I'll also say something else that Richard said. I want Hex to be expensive on all chains.
That there were several comments. He tells you about liquidity bonding. He said he wanted Hex expensive on all chains. He said that the pools were going to be deeper than any other DEX.
Yep.
He told you
will be the most liquid exchange in crypto, is what he said.
So what does that tell you? That tells you fat pools. Okay. Do we want to do the rundown of how this actually benefits? Because there's actually multiple benefits for it.
We should.
So you've got the universal conduit between chains. Okay. You've got the fact
the bridge,
that,
by the way, everybody, the bridge.
Yeah, the pairing of 1-to-1 creates that bridge. Okay. That allows Hex to be removed off of both chains and accumulated by the OA without ever selling a coin. It creates a stable liquidity pool where people can stake their Pulse and Pulse Hex and follow the OA's lead and earn Hex on both sides of the pool, probably plus incentive token. However, before you get too excited about that, understand that for Hex to work, Hex has to be the premier store of value. It has to be the premier yield-bearing asset, which you can't do on Ethereum right now because, yes, you can make more money in liquidity providing, but there's impermanent loss and all that shit. But in a stable pool, you can not have impermanent loss because if you have Hex paired to Hex and you follow the OA's lead, you can earn Hex off of both chains, probably incentive token too. It does not affect the price. It does not affect the price performance if it's routed through PLS, which is paired with USDC. If that liquidity pool is thin, the other liquidity pools can still be heavy. And because of that move in US dollar value, and it can be traded for that, it will still pump the prices of everything else. So that has to do with the routing. Now, if you had a pair of USDC with Hex and a smaller pair, that can change that, right? But the liquidity bonding tends to happen with the largest pools are going to have the largest impact. So if someone comes along and provides a smaller liquidity pairing, it's not going to have as much impact as the large liquidity pairing. Okay.
Yeah.
God, what else? Oh, pairing Hex 1-to-1 like that prevents people from dumping the Ethereum side to move over to the Pulse side because they no longer have to sell it to move it. They just bridge it over and they get 1-to-1 ratio.
Yep.
It also forces
and you get better Hex on Pulse than you had over on ETH because now you have one that can function without fees.
But you'll be able to do that. You won't have to dump your Ethereum side to do it because you'll be able to bridge it over. And the other thing is, of course, it forces parity because of the arbitrage opportunity of selling the silver coin for the gold coin. So it forces a parity through arbitrage and arbitrage bots as a result of creating that universal.
Which I assume is going to happen very quickly. I think that is going to, you're in the first few days, you're going to see parity just zip bang. There's not going to be
part of the reason why it's great that Hex is as low as it is, because imagine if you give if we were at $1 right now and you just gave everybody double their stack in dollars. Would they start dumping right then? That would be bad, right? Yeah. So we actually want a lower price point going into the launch of Pulse so that everybody can prepare for it. Because right now, you're looking at 10 cents if you're forced parity. So if you're buying for 5 cents, you're getting your duplicate anyway. So if it's forced parity, you're paying 5 cents for 2 tokens that are going to be worth 5 cents each. So you want the price to be low to start with because you don't want to be handing out a bunch of free coins for people to dump. Which is it's going to be, now don't get me wrong, it's going to be absolute chaos over there for everything else. It's going to be like Black Friday over there for everything else. But I wouldn't even want to mention how that's going to go down. I wouldn't even know. I'm keeping my head out of that. Don't ask
people that are going to go play in that That's going to be a dangerous place to play, guys. Just to let you know, for those of you who are thinking about it now, I know there's some brilliant traders, and some of you are going to get wrecked too. But that whole thing that's going to happen.
Some of the brilliant guys are going to, because this has never happened before. This is a new environment.
Never happened before. Some people are going to get lucky, and a lot of people are going to get wrecked. But it's going to be the wild, wild west when all this shit comes over, man. And some of the projects aren't going to support it, and some will, some won't. So whatever. And I would suggest.
I remember something. So the large pools, there is a benefit to that, because if the pools are large and you're earning less than the premium store value, that's a benefit, because you don't want the pools outperforming hex staking, right?
Yes.
So that large pool, it's diluted, but you can earn hex on both sides of the chain. But that is part of the thing.
But yeah, you don't want your LP to be more beneficial than your staking feature. That's for sure.
So it's another motivational reason why you want those large pools. And literally, it only takes 10 billion hex and 10 billion hex, and there's 650 billion hex. So that is really only a small portion of the available coins out there, or the available coins that the OA has to set up that primary liquidity pool, and nobody has enough coins individually to move it.
No.
That's all it takes. It doesn't take 650. And also, those coins are not staked. They're being put to use, right? So they're not interfering with other people's stakes. That's money that's taken off the market to provide support to the price that isn't competing for market share from everybody else. So I haven't found the hole, Captain. Can you find me a hole in this theory? Because it just makes too much sense. It sounds too freaking epic. And I've been looking for the hole, and all I get is, well, the price can't pump. And I've already solved that because it's the routing. Minus the price can't pump. The only way this doesn't happen is if Richard decides, hey,
not to do it.
I want a free for all. I want you heathens to bash each other in the head, and then when you're done bashing each other in the head, then I'll set things up. But I don't think he's going to risk. I don't think he's going to risk Ethereum dumping. I don't think he's going to risk the Ethereum side failing, and this is the only way to do that. Because if the Ethereum side fails, that's all the haters need to do is point at that. If everybody abandons the Ethereum side, and there's not a conduit to get over, and Ethereum crashes because everybody wants the new one, then everybody and their brother is going to point at it and go, well, Hex failed. Well, it failed on Ethereum. That's all that counts. We don't care what you're doing over there on your stupid chain. It doesn't matter. What matters is on Ethereum. So
I agree.
It's a preservation thing. So is there any holes? Has somebody got a hole for me?
So let's look at this hole. And it is a myth. Monkey just said this. OG's dump on everyone's head. Reality. Many folks bought at 0.001 or less. Also bought more at 40 cents. I know I made some big buys, not at 40 cents, but I had some 12-cent buys and some other buys.
I bought $30,000 worth at 18 cents.
Nice.
That
was a good buy, going up to 54 cents or seeing $1. That's a good buy. And you didn't lose because you didn't sell. I know Johnny didn't sell.
Right.
So it's all about not selling. He's not losing now just because it's sitting there at a 90% dip. So let's see if we got any.
I got a year's worth of yield on that shit. You kidding me?
I think
40% on 250,000 hexes.
I'm sorry, what? Oh,
40% on 250,000 hex. I got a year's worth of yield on that.
Nice. Let's see what else we got in here before we've been going for a while. We're about ready to close it down. So let's see. Let's see. I wanted to talk about that dump. So somebody said that it's a myth.
Now we know why it's illegal.
Wow.
It's illegal.
What the heck is that?
Snowballs in the workplace.
Hold on a second. I got. Had a speaker just started going. Hold on a second.
Sounded like you had cartoons going on there, man. I'm kind of jealous.
It was, I don't know what it was. Just started coming out. I've got this Sonos speaker and play my music on it, and it started whacking for some reason.
It sounded
Anyway,
like a cartoon. It sounded like zoinks. It sounded
I
like
wanted to talk about exiting. Everybody's going to at one point. Everybody's
There's a couple
going
ways
to
of doing that.
sell, and of course, doing it responsibly is what we've always talked about here. Especially in the beginning, because there was a lot of us in the beginning that had very, very big bags. There was very few hexagons in the beginning. There's a lot of us that accumulated a lot of hex in the beginning. So we spoke on this channel, again, one of those things that we offer that the other crypto idiots out there aren't offering. So all of you fudders who are talking shit about us and what we do, we on this channel, you can go back and look at all of our shows, have always been talking about exiting responsibly. Because
never, ever market sell a million.
Ever market sell.
More.
Why would you market sell? If you're already waiting, if you already have strong hands and you're a proof of weight person and you've staked, why can't you wait for your limit order to get filled? It's very easy to do.
Set it just above market and wait. And you can set multiple orders just above market and
set multiple.
The other thing
in
you can
bull
do,
market, it's easy to do that. You just set multiple sell orders at different levels and let it walk right into your orders. Let it walk right into it, non-past it, and keep going, and then set some more limit orders versus some of the market sells that we're seeing people do. I do not understand why people haven't figured this out yet. You know, when you market sell, I don't know if you guys know this. Some of you may or may not know this. If you limit sell, that means you're setting a price, and that price is going to be bought up by people who want to purchase it at that price. If it moves from your price, you don't sell. It doesn't sell anymore. That way, it doesn't affect what's going on in the system. If you market sell, what you're doing is you're going up against the book. You're going up against the book. You see the orders in the book, and you say, well, hex is 4 cents right now. I'm going to sell $500,000.
Not getting 4 cents.
But you're not getting it at 4 cents. It's buying that order book all the way down, all the way up. You're buying into all those orders above you, those people that have set limit orders waiting for you to come by. That's what's happening. So you don't ever want to market sell. You want to limit order sell out of your position when you're doing it. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. So the guy that thought he sold at 4 cents and sold it all the way down to 1.7, a large portion of his was sold for 1.7, not 4 cents. See, because of where the orders were. In order to stop that order from continuing to push down, a majority of those orders were filled at a lower price point. And that's what people don't understand. So you're actually shooting yourself in the foot by dumping the price. Unless you have unless you have a limit order set below that, and this is what extraction whales do, is they try to panic the market. Good luck panicking anybody with the amount of hex that's going to be worth taking the chance with. But they'll set a buy order, and then they'll drive the price down there so that all the plebs dump their money into their buy order, and then they try to push the price back up. And you'll see a lot of these people, they're showing you their intent. They're usually calling for lower prices because their limit order is set above that. And they're calling for these lower prices so you panic and give them your hex at a discount. That's why they do that. Mm-hmm. And the other way of doing it is setting ranged liquidity, single-sided ranged liquidity. And then instead of selling against yourself, you can take profit as the price goes up. What does that mean? You can say, I believe that hex is going to sell between 5 and 10 cents. So you set your first range between 5 cents and then your end range at 10 cents. And as people buy and as the price goes up, you get progressively more money for your hex as it sells, instead of progressively less as your market's selling. And I'm going to tell you something else. PulseX is going to have year limit orders. What does that mean? You can plan your positions a year in advance.
Yes.
You can literally go ahead and say, look, I am willing to sell 10,000 hex at 10 cents. I'm going to sell 10,000 hex at 20 cents. I'm going to sell 10,000 hex at 25 cents. And you just drop it in there. And then the dollars just appear in your wallet when those ranges are hit. And if those ranges are not hit, guess what? If it goes through those ranges and drops back down, guess what? You earned fees that whole time. You will earn fees on your money that you set there that you're waiting to sell. You earned fees while you're waiting to sell it.
So there are different ways of doing this, and T-Bird was talked about. So this is actually a form of DCAing. Really, it actually is. DCAing is kind of part of it. I get you dollar cost into limit orders.
You can do this. You can do this with buying. Yeah, you can do this with the same strategy with buying. This is just how you don't move the markets against yourself.
Yes.
So really, look, you know what? This is why we give people such a hassle. When we see 10 million dump and we scream pleb, it's because they don't know what they're doing. They don't, or they don't care. One or the other. Okay. They don't know that there are better ways of going about things. And we try to educate you on that. Not because it hurts our feelings. The price doesn't matter for the next 2 years for me. I don't give a shit. Do what you want. You want to shoot yourself in the foot? Go ahead. Go out there, shoot yourself in the foot. You want to drive hex down to sub-cent right now? Please do. Go ahead. Dump your shit. Go. Yeah. I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Ranged liquidity. We're going to have single-sided liquidity pools, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you're able to set, it's not single-sided liquidity, it's limit orders. They don't have the single-sided liquidity is on V3,
like on
but
V3,
they've already designed the single-sided liquidity for limit orders. Okay. So you can't do a range, but you can do a manual range. So what I mean by a manual range is
you plug in your own
instead
numbers.
of it going up, you have to plug in your own numbers. You have to say 10,000 at 10 cents, 10,000 at 15 cents, 10,000 at 20 cents. You'll have to set an amount at those numbers that you want to sell at.
I like that. I like that.
With V3, you can just say between 5 cents and 10 cents is your sell area. And then as people buy and it rips through the liquidity, you get paid more and more and more till you get your last tax. Your last tax will sell for 10 cents. And then if it goes up to 11 cents, you can close out your position. But if it sells back down, it starts to refill your hex.
It starts to refill you.
It'll start to refill your hex.
You got to manually pull out when you're on a single-sided liquidity pool.
Yes.
Or else it'll
you have to manually
close you out and then pry you back in. I've had that happen before.
And let's say it goes up really quick. You could close it out halfway through. Okay. You can close it out halfway through, take that half of the money and then set a higher range because you know that it's going to go up higher. So you set your range up higher. And that's what actually happens a lot in Uniswap. You'll see people will move out of their liquidity positions because they don't really want to sell. They're holding the price down so they can buy, but they don't really want to sell. You'll watch them move their walls. They'll be like, shit, I don't want to be out of hex. And they'll move their position to a higher position because they weren't really wanting to sell. They were just trying to hold the price down so they could get a better deal.
Yep.
So you have to be able to watch that.
Yeah, and they have to be on
it's
it.
A spook
they have
wall.
to be on it. Yeah, it'll
the sell wall is a spook wall in a lot of cases.
Basology, our local Bitcoiner, you can sell on Craigslist and meet up in a Starbucks parking lot. This is the best way because it won't lower the price at all. Just moves hex from one wallet to another wallet. Yeah, that's how he learned that in Bitcoin. I'm sure that's how they did it over there. Dark alleys, meeting up with a guy like him. That's the last thing. If you have anybody named Brissology trying to get you to meet him in a dark alley to trade your hex, don't go. All right. So anyway, Johnny, thanks for coming on, bro. I appreciate you always. Appreciate your thoughts and especially our conversations, whether it's on there or just, you and me chatting on the phone. I always appreciate it, man.
Everybody's been picking at me saying that I'm doing my tour. It's like everybody keeps saying, come hang out. They miss me.
I invited
ran
you.
away
You didn't
and
ask.
stopped
You didn't
coming
ask
on
me. I
shows.
invited you, and then I've been having scheduling issues with all the guests that want to come on lately. So that's been fun. That's been fun. Right on, my brother. All right. Well, thanks
And
for
I tried
coming.
to hide from you, but you got my number. So.
Well, we'll have to do it again. We're going to do it again
Tried to
once the
hide from
launch
you, but you
happens.
got my number. I'll never escape.
I know where you live too.
All right, brother. Well, you take care.
All right, my man. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday. Me and Famous. We'll see you. Thanks for coming.